Good afternoon to all of you. I'm delighted for the EPP group in the European Parliament to be in Vienna this afternoon. We have the Bureau meeting, about 50 colleagues in total from the European People's Party. I hope the microphone is working. They've travelled from Brussels today to meet in Vienna today, kind of rounding off the year with this meeting. We're delighted to be here in Vienna in particular because we have a very strong EPP leadership. It really is a great country for us to be in. Of course, we're in government with Karl Nehammer and our other ÖVP friends. And that is why it is wonderful for us to align our positions with those of our Austrian counterparts. And what we're seeking to do is take a stock of the situation in Austria, because it can serve as a model for many of us, particularly when it comes to reducing the debt, investing in the future, as well as in trying to expand alternative sources of energy. Austria really does stand for the future, and the coalition, certainly under your leadership, Karl, as I say, stands for the future, and we're delighted that you're going to take Europe along with you. Now, we have focused on foreign policy issues today. We've got the Italian Foreign Minister, Antonio Tajani, who is taking the floor right now. We've also heard from Alexander Schallenberg, and obviously we are dealing with the European dimension, and of course, a number one subject is the crisis in Ukraine. Everything else is against that backdrop, as you're all aware. Now, tomorrow we'll be talking about the kind of responses we can come up with in the face of migration. We have discussions ongoing with the Czech presidency in office. We're trying to nail down a migration package. We want to come up with a European response and show that we are in a position to come up with a response to those challenges. And as I say, we'll be talking about that tomorrow. And we want to emphasize exactly what Karl Nehammer's government can bring to the European table, because it is something that has to be repeatedly declared to be a priority at European level, because I can hardly say it often enough that we are sleepwalking into the next major crisis. And I think that Austria is a test case with the 100,000 illegal migrants that have come in. And next week in Strasbourg, we're having a special plenary. We last time had a special debate because it cannot be that we make the same mistakes as we did back in 2015 and 2016. So it is our joint ambition to highlight that and to discuss all of the related issues. And I should say, by the way, that when it comes to Schengen enlargement, the EPP support such a move. I know the various concerns that have been aired here in Austria, but I know that Croatia, Romania and Bulgaria have done their homework along with the experts. That is what their report says, and that is why we support an extension of Schengen. Both approaches are correct. We should extend Schengen, and we should also get a grip on illegal migration. Twin-track approach, both are right, and we're delighted to be able to do so in the presence of our boss, the Federal Chancellor. Thank you very much. A warm welcome to you here in Vienna. I'm delighted that the EPP group is carrying out its study days here in Austria. The fact of the matter is that there are all kinds of different political issues that we need to discuss with one another. The first, of course, is migration, as we've already said. This is the number one issue, and we are working very hard on safeguarding external borders as well as rapid returns. This is something that is on the agenda of our interior ministers. But as Manfred Weber has just said, I don't think that we have been properly heeded or heard in Brussels, and Austria has had to contend with more than 100,000 illegal migrants, 75,000 thereof who have not been registered. So we've got people crossing the borders in their thousands. Nobody knows where they're from, whether they're armed or not, whether they're trafficking drugs or human beings. So this is a real security challenge, and this is precisely why Austria has this perhaps shared view on the Schengen area. Romania and Bulgaria are not, as it stands, part of Schengen. But this is less a political discussion than a security issue. What is at stake is the security of our fellow citizens. We've got more than 75,000 people who are crossing the borders of the EU without being registered. Then this is a security issue that you cannot simply sweep under the carpet. Rather, it is something that you've got to face up to and discuss. Since 2015, we have been dealing with a situation in which we have controls on the German-Austria border. Now, we have learned that the German authorities will be carrying out checks on the Czech border, and that means that we are now having to carry out checks on the Slovenian and Hungarian borders. So that means that we really have a problem with Schengen. We have a real problem with illegal migration. But that is not the only issue that is of concern to us as the European People's Party. We need to look at how we organize Europe in such a way as to face up to international competition. How can we make sure that Europe is an attractive industrial and economic location? What do we do with the issue of the security of food supplies for Europe? These are all major issues, and I am delighted that there is such a thing as a European People's Party, because the only way we're going to solve these problems is as Europeans. A very warm welcome to you, therefore. So, Chancellor, I understand that you are sticking to your guns, standing by your positions, and that means that there will be a veto then from Austria. So what about the Austrian veto? Well, for one thing, as I say, we still have more than 75,000 unregistered